Right, good afternoon. This is the Tuesday, January 25th meeting of the Design and Project Review Committee. We do have a quorum. Katie, can you please call the roll? Oh, I'm sorry. Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
I'll make a motion that we suspend the rules to allow member participation electronically or by telephone.
Second.
Katie, please call the roll.
Knighton,
Aye.
Griffith,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Schnur, Schnur,
She seems
Okay.
frozen.
okay, Callahan,
Aye.
Biggs,
Aye.
Tristan,
Aye.
Papa,
Aye.
Eckersberg,
Aye.
Hyank,
Aye.
Pratt.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you. Next item is the minutes of January 11th.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay. Knighton,
Aye.
Griffith,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Schnur,
Aye.
Callahan,
Aye.
Biggs,
Abstain.
Tristan,
Aye.
Papa,
Aye.
Eckersberg,
Aye.
Hyank,
Aye.
and Pratt.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. So I'm gonna suggest that we take these items in slightly different order. Is everyone okay if we switch 809 Davis with 2424 Oakton? Okay, seeing just head nods, that's wonderful, thank you. So is Nicholas Iberzabal on?
Yes, here I am.
Great, why don't you tell us what you're proposing to do?
Sure, we're 5411 Empanadas. It's a small bakery that we've been operating in Chicago for the last about 10 years. So we're taking this little space. It's less than 800 square feet. There on Davis, and going to open a small bakery for 5411 Empanadas. I am the owner and founder of it.
Are there any questions or comments? Can you speak briefly how deliveries will be received from the store?
Yes, so the good thing is that the empanadas, we manage all the deliveries. So deliveries we take care of, the timing, and so everything is internal. So we have there's a loading dock. I'm going to use it deliveries at the most twice a week. We can choose a time that's more convenient. Obviously, we're going to stay away from rush hour and do everything through the building's loading dock. I already spoke with the building people, and that works for them as well.
There's a bike lane there, and so I would just make sure that you make sure your delivery drivers are not parking in the bike lane. That can be an issue at times, and so if you could make sure that your staff know not to park in the bike lane.
100%, perfect. Will do.
And then will you be operating a food truck here as well?
No, we have one food truck, but we operate it from the Chicago location, so no.
We do like food trucks here. We like food trucks here. So
Okay, perfect. No, but not maybe that's an idea for the future, but not yet.
great. We've had I know you've been at the the various events over the years in Evanston. So
Yes, we worked, yeah, we had the licenses there for the temporary licenses in the past, so. Yeah, we love Evanston. I studied in Evanston at Northwestern, so I always loved Evanston and was hoping to be able to open a location in Evanston for many years, so hopefully this is it.
all right, any other comments or questions, or is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve in accordance with the staff recommendations outlined in the attached memo.
second,
Okay, Katie, call the roll.
Hayden,
Aye.
Griffith,
Aye.
Jones,
aye,
Schnur,
Aye.
Callahan,
Aye.
Biggs,
Aye.
Tristan,
aye,
Papa,
Aye.
Eckersberg,
Aye.
Hink,
Aye.
and Pratt.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, great. Welcome to Evanston, and we look forward to having you open soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'll keep you posted.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Sure. So am I good to, should I just leave?
You're good to leave. Staff will follow up with you with next steps. You are welcome to stay, but I'm sure you have other things to do with your day.
Okay, thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
All right, next item, 2424 Oakton Street. Mitch J. Melamed, Aaron Golden, again, applicant on behalf of the Salvation Army, requests a special use permit for a resale establishment in the C1 Commercial District zoning code section 6-10-2-3 and the overlay redevelopment district. The Land Use Commission makes a recommendation to City Council, the determining body in this case, in accordance with section 6-3-5-8 of the Evanston zoning code and ordinance 92-021. All right, Mr. Melamed, are you going to provide an overview of what's going on, or is there somebody from the Salvation Army?
So let me introduce myself, Mitch Melamed, attorney in Chicago, and we are requesting a special use for what is currently the Gordon Food Store located at 2424 Oakton in Evanston. With me also today is Major Kendall Matthews. Major Matthews is in charge of the resale stores for the whole Chicagoland area, as well as Northern Indiana, including the Salvation Army's largest campus, which is located on Clybourne in the city of Chicago. The Salvation Army, it was requesting a special use resale, having to be a special use in what is already zoned to C1. The interesting aspect of this particular property is it already seemingly qualifies and covers most all of the concerns that the city would have as it relates to parking, circulation, traffic, landscaping, signage, drainage, and the like. Unfortunately, Gordon Foods, as I understand it, has had no success or at this particular location. In fact, the last time I checked, they had one employee and really had no business. The Salvation Army is anxious to show itself in that particular location and anticipates that it will serve the residents of Evanston in a number of fashions. Certainly one is the ability to acquire reasonably priced goods at this particular location while bringing to the city of Evanston substantial sales tax revenue. Again, the traffic and all the items that are normally of greatest concern to design and review are really addressed and had been addressed when Gordon first opened up this location, which is not very old. With that being said, I would like to introduce Major Kendall Matthews to perhaps explain a little bit further.
Thank you very much. Our family store, particularly we're hoping to be in Evanston, will be one that will be fashioned and our Lincoln Park store, it just happens to be the #1 store in the country. And so we're designing the store in Evanston. It's already set up for us, but we feel like if we can bring the same kind of energy, the same kind of participation and quality, not so much quantity, but the quality of the store and the product of the store. We're just really excited about the possibility of moving from Skokie to Evanston. And so with that, I mean, are there any questions? We're certainly here to respond.
So, my name's Laura Biggs. I'm the city manager. I have a question just about how you're going to manage donations, because I think one of the concerns that we've seen anytime a business has a drop box for people to drop things off, whether it's on site to their business or at a separate site where there is no business located, donations tend to pile up. It rains, they become unusable. There's just always a lot of issues around donation management when you have drop boxes.
Sure. Well, we plan on having a donation person at the location 7 days a week, because we know that in other locations that has been an issue for us. But in this location, we're already trying to plan ahead to make a firm commitment to even have a person collecting donations on Sunday. And so we're open, for 6 days and then Sunday as well. We're also, if we look at our Arlington Heights store or our Grandview store, we've really put up a canopy. And right now with the donations are around the back area, so that, and we're going to have the proper signage, based on the requirements of the city when it comes to donations, when it comes to our actual signage. So we think having a person there 7 days a week will certainly help to manage that.
So my opinion is going to be that you have to have a person there 7 days a week.
Yeah,
but I also think the hours matter. So what hours are you thinking the donation person is going to be there, particularly on Saturday and Sunday?
Well, Sunday, it'll be for a full 8 hours. So when we take a look at 8 to 4 or 10 to 7, it'll be a full 8 hours based on once we get in there and we understand the actual donation flow for Sunday. Now, because we're open typically to 7 p.m. and we close at 7 p.m. and we open at 9, 10, then we plan on having somebody there during that time receiving donations. Now, after hours, we want to make sure that the signage, that our donors are clear on the fact that dumping and leaving donations after hours we would rather for people to donate during hours so that we can get the donations in, we can get them processed, we can get them out of the weather. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I know
Dave-
one of the previous concerns, I think some of you may be aware that Salvation Army did have a location in Evanston many years ago now. I believe it was on Chicago Avenue. The city of Evanston asked Salvation Army to please sell this property or vacate it so that you can reconstruct that corridor, which was done very nicely. And I know that dumping, because I've been involved in their legal end for years, I know that dumping was an issue there. Interestingly, there's a significant difference here. First of all, that was in a residential related area. This is not. And I don't believe that the amount of dumping will be anywhere close to the same or the attempted. And as I also understand from a letter submitted subsequently to your committee from Leora Conway, who's director of business, there will also be cameras in the area to monitor this.
Right.
So I too have questions. Oh, go ahead. I too have questions about the operations, particularly of this, because, you know, I lived in that neighborhood where at the time when the Salvation Army was there, and it was a disaster. People would leave stuff in the middle of the night, late at night. They're getting ready to move. They drop their stuff up. They have a car full of stuff. They're not going to be like, oops, I got to go home. I'll come back another day. They've packed their vehicle. They've carried it over there. They're not going to carry it away. So stuff would get left, and then somebody would come upon it, and they would open up the bag and they'd take stuff out, and there'd be stuff. I used to see stuff as far as the Main Street train station that had been probably dragged. It was, and Angel helped me out here. If you remember from a property maintenance standpoint, it was really bad. You had that property was poorly managed. At one point, there was not even a doorknob on the front door. There was a rag that people could pull to open and close the door.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that if you think that it's going to be a little different, that may be, but there are those of us who remember what the property used to be managed. And that's really problematic. And I don't understand how a camera is going to deter somebody when there's a sign that says donations here. And, you know, how do you deal with somebody who's just left a donation? Is somebody going to come show up to the Salvation Army at 10 o'clock at night if somebody just dumped a bunch of stuff in a couch? I mean, I realize that there are things that you probably won't take, particularly in, I know Goodwill isn't taking certain items anymore. It doesn't mean people aren't going to leave them. And if people know it's a dumping spot and donation spot, they'll still come at hours and go and rifle through the bins. And I think that is just a very significant concern of ours as staff, because the person who will get the complaints is on this call, Angel Schnur, or I will get the calls when there's complaints about stuff being pulled from the bins or stuff being left. People won't even go to the spot if they're donating at off hours. I just need I'm not inclined to support this. I need a stronger plan for how you're going to deal with donations, because this is a 24/7 sort of community. We have Northwestern students moving in and out. They're going to be, you know, looking to unload their stuff. They're moving out of a dorm. They're moving out of an apartment, and they're leaving. They're not going to come back the next day. They're on a schedule, and this is their plan. This is baked into their plan.
Well, let me first of all apologize, even though I wasn't around during that time. No, I mean, you smile, but you make some very vital points that we're trying to change the mentality, the thinking of the past, and guide you toward what we're doing right now and how we have managed and how we have taken pride. We moved here from Detroit. Before that, we were in Indianapolis. Before that, we were in St. Louis. And every area that my wife and I have served in, we've come in with a whole idea of excellence. And so what it used to be is not what it is today. If you were to go by any of our stores, and I would encourage you to do that, to go by and just look, don't even let people know who you are. Just park your car and watch during the hours of operation. Now, during the hours we're not operating the store, we had planned on sending drivers. We can't send drivers at 10, 11 o'clock at night, but we certainly first thing in the morning, if there are items that have been rambled through or items that have been disjointed and they're disorganized, we will, I'm just saying to you what we're doing and what we have done. We're going to clean it up because we don't want any complaints from the city, of any of the cities that we serve in. We want shoppers and donors to know that once the standard is set, now I know cameras are not going to deter people, but 3 o'clock, we can't have somebody at the store 24 hours a day, but we can certainly at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, make sure that the area is clean and that it is suitable based on the excellent mentality that we're bringing, that we've already brought to the table. We've been here now 2 years, and we feel like we've had to come in and say, there's a new plan. Not so much there's a new sheriff in town, but there are new administrators in town with forward thinking and new mentality. And so I would say give us a chance, or go by and look at our other store operations and see how we're operating in those locations, particularly the #1 store in the country with Salvation Army is in Lincoln Park. And we're modeling store in Evanston after Lincoln Park because we feel like that community deserves, all communities deserve to have a good product and a good store in their location, one that you can be proud of. Give us a chance.
I have a question, just kind of, what are you currently doing, or what steps are you doing to prevent or minimize the potential of like a spread of bed bugs or other issues like that?
Yeah, when it comes to bed bugs, we don't really accept mattresses. We buy all new mattresses. That's one of the things we said. We don't want somebody bring a bed, a mattress to be donated. We don't take it. We can't take it. And that's why we find people dumping, because we tell them no. And then they come 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning to a location and dump it on us. But then we have to discard it. So when it comes to bed bugs, we don't, we buy brand new mattresses. In the stores are brand new mattresses. So we don't resell items that are, that may have bed bugs, particularly mattresses.
How are you preventing it from being spread through clothing or other items? Are you doing any treatments or anything, or?
Yeah, that's a very good question. That's a very good question. Typically, our handlers, we've enforced a rule that all of our handlers have to wear gloves, and items that are suspect or look worn down and with no life left in them, we discard those items. I'm certainly open to any suggestion that you may have, because we want, this hasn't been an issue for us with bed bugs, other than with mattresses. But with clothing and such, pillowcases and pillows and things of that nature, we haven't really had an issue with bed bugs, only with the mattresses. But I'm open to suggestions. I mean, if you have a suggestion, maybe a light of some sort, or, we're open to suggestions.
So you don't have a protocol, or do you have a protocol for if you do find something in the store? Do you shut down the store to prevent the spread?
Oh, okay, very good. Yes, absolutely, we do. If there is a bed bug outbreak and we find it in couches and such, we have exterminators who come in. And like when we were in Columbia, Missouri, or in Jeff City, which is state capital of Missouri, we're in Jeff City, we had that situation. And we closed the store down because for the safety of the consumers and the customers and the donors, we wanted them to be safe. They need to be safe when they shop in our stores. So we shut the store down, and the newspaper really got all over us, but we told the folk, we're here to protect the consumers and the customers. And why are you shutting down? Well, because we want to protect our customers. So yes, absolutely.
I think a plan that was approved by the health department here on if you do have any type of outbreak or anything and how it's to be handled might be something that would be beneficial to both parties.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that, as we move forward, I think that will be one of the items that I would want to personally visit the health department, sit down with them, and talk about a plan, a proactive plan, not after the fact, but before the fact. So thank you for that.
So on that note, and first let me apologize, I had some connectivity issues, but on that note, do you have washers and dryers in the store?
Washers
to
and
wash
dryers.
the clothing that, to
Well,
wash the clothes that you're going to sell or anything?
Usually when we donate clothes, when we get clothes donated, a lot of people have washed and folded the clothing prior to donating. I would say 60% of the people who donate to us, you open up a bag, it's usually the clothes are already clean. Or we've received about 7% of the clothing comes in from dry cleaners. Or so then
I would,
yeah, I'm sorry.
I would think a good suggestion to help
Yes.
curb any bed bug issues would be at a minimum to have a dryer installed, because if you heat the clothing
Yes.
to a high temperature, you can at least kill the eggs. I mean, it's not going to do anything for couches or chairs, but at least you can
Yes.
help eliminate it from bags of clothing. And so
Yes.
as you bring that in, before you hang anything on the shelves or put it away, if you run the clothes through the dryer, that will at least
Yeah.
help.
I think that's a very good suggestion, not just for our potential Evanston store, but I think we might make a policy of that, because that's a very, I mean, even having a dryer on site would be easy for us to install. Just
Yes.
have to have, you know, that could be easy. And we see an item, we can put it in the dryer. I know when we were in Indianapolis running the treatment center, we did that for all new consumers coming in for treatment. We put all their clothes into the dryer so that for any potential bed bugs. But I think I know we're gonna make this a new policy for all of our stores, that we would install a dryer for potential use, for usage for potential bed bugs. That's a very good suggestion. And that's an easy
I
one.
think that would be a good thing to just make as a policy when you take stuff in, is before you even put it anywhere, you take it out of the bag and you run it through the dryer.
Well, you know, we get, you figure for donations a day, it depends on the volume of donations that are coming in. Certainly we will take a look at that. We'll even, you know, install a dryer. But a lot of the clothes we receive are already folded and they're already have been cleaned. Those that haven't, we immediately discard those. So we open up a bag. That's why I really would like for you to come and visit our Lincoln Park store. You would be amazed of how the system is set up to bring in quality product and to resell that product to the community. I hope I answered your question.
One of the concerns I have is that you're saying a lot of things, but this is not written down as like an actual active plan about how you'll manage stuff. So for example, what would happen if somebody does discard a mattress, or if clothes come that aren't in good condition and they can't be salvaged? How does that get managed? How does it get diverted?
Well, let me first of all say that we will get every member a copy of our booklet. We do have a book. If I'd have known that we would have sent it to you prior, but there is a handbook for how we handle and how we operate our stores. And a lot of the questions that are coming up are not just verbiage that is coming from me, but it's already documented. So we'll make sure we get the handbook to each of you here on this committee, so that you can be aware that we're just not shooting from the hip, but we're shooting from the heart, and that we're trying to be as positive as possible moving forward, because this is a great potential for the store. So.
But for the second part of that question, what do you do with donations that come that you can't use, like whether it's mattresses or used clothing, you find something with bed bugs, what happens?
Thank you. We end up, if it doesn't have life left into it, in other words, it's unsellable, it has holes in it, or we get a mattress and it's soiled and then we're committed to pick it up, we have to dump it. We have to pay to have those items discarded. We pay, and the city doesn't pay, or the store doesn't pay, the organization pays to have it disposed of. Now for clothing, we have arranged a resale for clothes to be sold by the pound to places like India and Africa, in third world countries, that we send product to. We bale it, we weigh it, and then there's a third party that purchases it from us, and they send it overseas. If it's scrap metal, or an old bicycle, or if it's scrap, we try to recycle everything that we receive, so that if it does have a potential for life and for future usage, then we recycle it.
Major, maybe for clarification, and correct me if I'm wrong. Again, I've been involved with representing Salvation Army for many years. When the donated goods come in the back area, there are sorters, numerous people in the back who look at the clothing, make a determination, and then they
That's
have a
right.
separate pile for the rags or the donated materials. They get separated out right away at the back as soon as it comes in, and are then disposed of it. They just go to a completely separate location. So only the better saleable goods that are clean end up going out for sale. Is that
That's right.
fairly accurate?
That's right. That's right. And our sorters are people with eagle eyes who can sort a hole in a sweater, or a towel that is soiled, or jeans that have holes in them. They go in a separate bin. We would love, and we have a handbook for this. So I want to make sure, I'm making a note now that we make sure that we get to the committee, Mitch, a copy of our handbook. Demetrius, our Director of Operations, would have that.
So what happens if somebody shows up, they've tied a mattress to the top of their vehicle, they show
Mhm.
up, and it's during the hours of operation, and you're like, we do not take mattresses. What do you tell them? What happens then?
Good question. That could be confrontation, to be honest with you. I mean, somebody can say, I want to donate this to the Army. There's nothing wrong with it. And I'm here, and I wasn't informed of that prior to bringing it. We profusely apologize and try to defuse the situation, and say to them, we do not accept mattresses. We do not accept mattresses. But I've been in situations that we've said, okay, we'll take it. I mean, there's situations where we have to be flexible enough where it doesn't become habitual, but it's situational. And in situations when they pose themselves, I would approve it, even though we don't accept it, just to diffuse the situation.
Okay, so you accept it, where does it go? Do you have a dumpster that,
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
are your receptacles large enough to accommodate that? And then I don't know if Public
Absolutely.
Works wants to weigh in on how we collect that, if that aligns
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, we have contracts with Waste Management. We have other contracts that we discard items. We recently sent a proposal to get a dump truck so that we would go and do the dumping ourselves to the landfill, as opposed to having a waste management company do it. But we discard of it, and it goes to the landfill. But we try not to send items to the landfill, because we try to recycle everything that we get, because it cuts back on our expenses as well.
All right, so one of the challenges, if this were to open and you were to get your special use, is somebody might say, okay, fine, I won't bring my mattress here. They'll go a couple blocks over, and they'll dump the mattress, and then we'll get a call about it. So I think, something to think about, and I think as this moves forward, we don't make a decision on your project. It goes forward to another body that's going to make a recommendation that will determine it. But that we are going to need probably some kind of support from the Salvation Army to pick up mattresses that are within, or other things that cannot be collected that are within a certain radius of the of this property. Similar to this, one of the things that we have for small restaurants that have a lot of to-go activity, we require them to clean up areas within 250 feet of their front door, assuming that people might come and buy something and then trash, the paper from a straw drops, or maybe the straw, or wrappers or whatever, they drop within a certain distance to clean up. I think we have probably a similar situation. There's There's a large park that is not regularly monitored. And there is literally a landmass that we locally refer to as Mount Trashmore. And I think that my public works colleagues can attest that we get dumping there pretty regularly. So it's a short little, a couple rights and you're into this area where it's not monitored regularly. And you can pretty visibly see from where you would be rejected from delivering your furniture that you don't want, that you can go put it in this other spot. So I think this is a massive operational concern for the city of Evanston. We don't have the staff to manage this when it comes off of your property. And we just know from around Evanston how much furniture gets discarded and dumped and is out and about in our community.
So it sounds like that's already an issue in the city. We certainly
It
don't
is already
want
an issue
we
because
don't want to.
right, because what happens is you have an organization. They may come to your many of us on this call may have dropped stuff at the Salvation Army store. They're not that far. You go to the Salvation Army store, you get told no, you find a spot to dump it. That's the nature of how this is.
Well, we've been around 30 years and I respect and appreciate your candor and shooting from the heart. I appreciate that. But I can only say that this is a new day. The Salvation Army family stores we have adopted a whole new mentality. Our track record speaks for itself. That's why I think it's important for you to go by and visit one of the other locations. We'll commit right here. If there's items that need to be picked up within 250 feet, well, we're not going to leave it there. We don't leave it in any of our locations. So I think when we think about the past, I can be the greatest promoter in the world, but that doesn't make a difference if in fact that you have a history for how things have been previously in the Army and in the city. And we want to try to change that. And I think the only way we can do that is by an opportunity and to take a look at what we're currently doing in 19 of our stores. So I really appreciate your honesty. Yep. Yep.
So one of the things,
Laura, can I just have one more thing? Sorry.
oh, sure, please, go ahead.
So looking at the standards for special uses, which is something, because this is a resale shop is a special use. I think a lot of them probably don't apply, but the one that I keep hammering here is adequately served by public facilities and services. And I think, the concern I really have is that our city services are pretty well taxed right now. And that this brings in a new dimension of something that we're not necessarily prepared to deal with. And you may be able to offer some opportunities and some ideas for mitigating that. And I think that would be something that we would bake into, include in the terms and approval, if that is what comes to pass, your special use approval. But I think I'm just trying to foreshadow here that will be there will be more requirements. It isn't just you're going to be a good neighbor, you're going to try your hardest, you're going to share the manual, which is all helpful. We would codify this and put this in an ordinance, certain requirements of cleanup, of even, and I'm not suggesting this, I'm just putting it out there, but even acceptance of some of those items and trashing them on behalf of the person coming, to avoid that mattress or couch or wherever being fly dumped someplace else, and putting that responsibility onto the city is something to maybe consider. I don't want to put you on the spot to commit to that now, but because that will be an issue for us. We just know how this works.
Well, and like I said, we have served in overseas, and we've served in many different places, and we brought in a very high standard. And so, I certainly appreciate that. If in fact we don't receive it, the special use, I'm optimistic. I'm hoping that we'll be given a chance to really move forward with this. But if there are stipulations that will fiscally not make sense to us, if you're going to say now, okay, then you got to discard all the mattresses, which can be hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, that you know, it can be tricky, and it can be cumbersome.
Yeah, I'm
So
not suggesting that. I'm just,
I know, but you
think
put it out there.
I'm
so-
putting it out there that you need to think about what that means, because that's hundreds of thousands of dollars that the city of Evanston now, because we have more of this kind of stuff that might be centralized to this area.
So how often, so my question to you is then, how much of that are you saying right now? You're saying that if we come in with the store, we're going to automatically bring in dumping? I mean,
Well, I'm gonna ask
don't
somebody from
understand
Public
that.
Works or maybe Angel from Property Maintenance
Okay.
to offer in some guidance here, but we get, what happens is people leave stuff in places, we get a report of what's called fly dumping, and we go pick it up. We also allow for special pickups, which people can put stuff out and then they're charged something, but often we observe people just put it someplace so it becomes a fly dump and they don't have to pay the fee. But we still bear the cost of the special pickup. So Michael or Brian, I don't know if one of you wants to add anything about our waste management.
Yeah, we often do have to deal with special pickups where something is left at an apartment complex from even a resident that isn't having lived in those places. They just leave stuff at the side of dumpsters. I don't know if there's opportunity for some kind of compromise if we are still having to send staff out to pick this material up in the interim, if there is a means of almost creating a magnet type thing where we have a dumpster there that like a roll-off, construction sized dumpster that is always present on the property to be used for collecting this material, that it can be directed. And then our staff doesn't necessarily have to go and physically pick this stuff up. I don't know if that is
That's a good idea.
type extension.
That's a good idea.
I don't know if it's even feasible from our budgetary standpoint, but that was just something that's maybe worth exploring.
Yeah. It would seem to me that I believe that there's a Goodwill store already in Evanston, and the problems had to have been somewhat similar. And I would suggest whatever those solutions were for that Goodwill store should be suggested to the Salvation Army in addition, so they can review those. That presents, I assume it presents a track record already there, so you have some understanding of how those issues are handled.
I was going to add that I think having a place for residents to recycle their goods is always a good idea, because that's what we want. But I think Johanna's right in terms of, we have issues with overloaded drop-off containers at different commercial locations around town that have to be cleaned up. And while this isn't a residential area where the Chicago store used to be, where it was easier to be dumped, the fact that this isn't monitored 24/7 and is relatively open and can easily be accessed and exited, I think is something that you have to take into consideration. So I think if this proposal moves forward, I think that you really have to come up with a plan for how you're going to maintain that garbage and monitor that area and make sure that you're keeping the space clean, because putting up a no dumping sign and putting up a camera isn't necessarily going to solve your issue.
Yeah,
so we can make suggestions all day long, but I think you have to be able to present what you're going to do. What steps are you going to take in order to make sure that it doesn't happen? Because I like the idea of another store where people have the idea, or where they have the ability to recycle their goods. But the fact that it can become a dumping ground for their garbage is very real.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. I think we've outlined 7-day a week, having a donation center manned at the beginning of the day, and at the end of the day, we would make sure the areas are clean. And I'm not talking cameras. I'm talking physically having people out there. It's just going to be difficult for us to have someone out there 24/7. I just think that if we are going to be good stewards, and we have been in other communities of donations, that we've gone in quickly when we received a call, we went in, we've cleaned it up, and we've moved on, leaving items out to make the community look rundown, and it's not a standard that we have. It's a standard, a high standard that we have right now that we have, and I've said this, I'll say it for the last time, but we have a very strong track record of not just in Evanston, but international, of service and of working with the community. So we do have a plan. We've outlined that plan, and we certainly are hoping for an opportunity and praying to be given a second chance here.
So I guess I would like to hold this until we get more additional information that's actually written down. So I'm thinking that what we would need to see is like a written plan for staffing for donation management that includes 7 days a week, but also then like a waste management plan. What items do you take? Of the items you don't take, what do you do when they end up there? So when your commitment that clothing that is not usable for you, this is what happens to it. If mattresses get dumped, this is what happens to it. How often does the waste hauling happen? What's recycled? How is that managed? I also think things like there's a concern here about how there's a potential for this to be a negative impact to the community. So what are some of the things that you can do to mitigate that as a negative? And so, for example, if there's fly dumping within 250 feet of the site, that would be a way to mitigate some of the negative impact. I am just loosely aware, because I'm a functioning grown-up, of the Salvation Army's mission, but are there people in Evanston that are employed by the Salvation Army? Would they be employed at this location? If you have them in at other locations, would you also have them working here so it's more convenient to them and more sustainable? So I think being able to describe some of these things, that how you will manage all of the stuff that comes to your site, how you will divert appropriately the things that aren't getting sold in your stores, and then how you hope to minimize the impact, any negative impacts, by also providing some public benefit, I think would be really good information. And you referred quite a bit to your Lincoln Park store. I think it would be really helpful to have either a letter of support or something from a neighborhood business group at Lincoln Park, or the city government, or whatever, that shows that yes, you have done these things and people are happy with your Lincoln Park store. Because not everybody in this committee is going to drive down to Lincoln Park to look at your store.
Or you can even go to Skokie. Or you can go to the store in Skokie, which is not, I don't think it's that far from you. So you can go to Uptown store there on Broadway and see how things function. It's really the same with the same standard. I just think that given our communications here and being open and authentic with one another, I think is something that we want to respond to. And when you say you want to hold it until you receive, additional responses from us, I think that's fair. And all we want is fairness. That's all. We just and we will comply. We will respond to what you have asked for. And if it's still of the mentality that it's just not. I mean, we certainly want to come in and we want to bring a quality store to that area to help with the economics, to help the underserved individuals in your community who shop, and who need to shop because they don't have the economic income to be able to do it, but they can shop at a store and be able to buy something secondhand at a very reasonable price. So yeah, I think that's fair. Laura, is it what? I'm sorry, what is your name?
Laura. That's
Laura. Laura Biggs. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Well, I think that we're all aware that you have several missions here, one of which is to fits very well with some City of Evanston policies of reuse of items so that they receive a second life and don't go to a landfill. But also that you yourself are taking things that if they weren't getting a second life would be trash, you're diverting them. So they're still not going to a landfill is also a really good thing. And I think this idea about providing people a chance to gain job skills is also really a great thing. But, you know, there's been past concerns with your organization. And I think that you're fighting against that. So by providing some testimonials that are recent from community organizations, businesses, or city governments in places where you have existing facilities, saying what a good neighbor you are, I think those are things that would have weight. This is just your first step in getting through the City of Evanston approval process. So we're trying to set you up for success.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And it's not so much that I'm fighting against, I'm just sharing with you that we're willing to do whatever it's going to take here to move forward. And if it comes down to it, we've done everything. At the end of the day, we want to be in a position to say, you know, we've done everything we could do to respond to you. And then, since this is the first step, this is a good first step, because I think you've provided us with some information moving forward. And as you said, to try to set us up to succeed and not to fail. And we appreciate that.
Sure. So with that, I'll make a motion to hold this until we get additional information.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Can you, Katie, can you call the roll?
Sure. Nyden,
Aye.
Griffith,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Schnur,
Aye.
Callahan,
Aye.
Biggs,
Aye.
Tristan,
Aye.
Papa,
Aye.
Eckersberg,
Aye.
Hink,
Aye.
and Pratt.
Aye.
Motion to hold this item carries.
Okay, so we'll see it. You can be in touch with staff on next steps in terms of responding to the materials that we might need. So with that, there are no other items. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.